How are you doing?
I am alive and breathing, and I'm in Hawaii directing, doing what I love. So I feel very blessed, very lucky right now, Stephen.
I was
I'm
actually going to
talking
ask
to
you.
you, so it's great.
Wait, say that one more time.
And I'm talking to you, so it's great.
Sure. I have a bunch of questions for you, and about the movie and just some fun stuff. But I actually wanted. I'm going to start with the Hawaii thing. For what are you directing in Hawaii for people that don't know?
I am directing the remake of Doogie Howser, Doogie Kami Aloha, and they are for Disney Plus and 20th Century, I believe. I don't know if they're called something new now, but um, I am loving it. It is about a 16-year-old Hawaiian doctor, and she's brilliant and genius. And the actress Peyton Lee is brilliant and genius and such a gracious, loving young star. And I'm just having the best time of my life. I love directing.
Uh,
Love.
Pardon me for not knowing. Are you directing the pilot, or is this another episode?
Another episode. Yeah. No. I'm not directing the pilot. It is, they're on episode 8, but they moved the schedule around for me because I was on another project. Erin O'Malley directs the finale, and she's a phenomenal director. But I am directing episode 8 that happens to be shot at the end. So, and I know what it feels like to like say goodbye to it or like wrap up a first season. And so I'm just hoping to give them like all the love and care and the excitement, because it is bittersweet. It can be very bittersweet.
Completely. Believe me, I want to jump into that, but that's another time. So everyone I talked to during the pandemic, I ask a whole bunch of first questions. They're fun. It's, you'll see, and nothing's hard hitting, I promise. What TV series would you love to guest star on besides the remake of Doogie Howser?
The Boys.
Oh, okay. That's quite good. What movie or movies have you seen the most?
I'm not the biggest repeater. I don't often repeat movies
Okay.
unless they're comedies. Comedies, I repeat tons. I'm trying to think of what comedy, like a big repetition. It's not a movie now, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a big repetition. Kim's Convenience is a big repetition. The Good Place is a big repetition in my household.
Completely. I understand.
Superstore.
Right. I understand why. Which movie which movie did you see too early in your life that really scared you?
Poltergeist.
Could you look under your bed after you saw the movie, or were you done?
No, under my bed, closets, dark places, dark spaces. Like if the lights are out, I'm like, you're behind me.
I completely get it. What movie or TV show props do you own?
What movie or TV show props?
Yeah. What did you hypothetically borrow from set?
I never took anything.
Really?
Yeah, I never took anything.
Really? Now, was that like, were you mindful of like not taking anything? Were you like scared that you were just people would call you like a thief, or what?
Oh, I I don't know. I feel like I got a lot from each project, and I guess I didn't need any more.
I understand. When
Or
did
maybe
you?
I didn't know I was allowed to, or
Well,
I did never asked.
you'd be surprised how many people I speak to that say, I'll say it to you, but this is hypothetical. I actually don't have this because I don't want the production knowing. You
Oh,
know that kind of stuff.
that kind of thing.
Right. When did you feel during your career that you made it enough, like that you had made it that you could like take a month off and you would still be able to pay your rent?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I did not have anything prior to Jane the Virgin. So Jane the Virgin was the first like real stable job I had. And so I saved my pesos. I am not a big spender at all. I, I've, I can take time off because I have a very, like, I don't buy a lot.
I understand completely.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was that got you interested in the entertainment industry? Was it a performance? Was it a film? Was it something that clicked and you're like, oh my God, I want to do that?
Oh God, it had to be so many things. I started off as a dancer. I always knew I wanted to be on stage, and I loved I loved being on stage when I was a dancer and watching everyone dance along with us and be so moved by performances. So I feel like I always loved and wanted to be an entertainer and was always entertaining like family and whatnot. But when I saw America Ferrera and Real Women Have Curves, that's when I said, I can do this, because America showed me that that we were seen. She showed me it was possible. And like Rita Moreno had done that for me, and lots of the incredible Latinx, actresses out there had done that. But America Ferrera and Real Women, that was a very and I'm like, I think a few months younger than her or older. Can't even remember. But the point is we were about the same age. So it was like 16, 17. When she did that movie, I think she was like 17, 18. That was when it really was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Have you ever told her this information?
I do. I don't know if she believes me, but I meant it. I really meant it. And she continued to do that for me in Ugly Betty and Sister of the Traveling Pants. And she was a really big reflection for me to say, like, maybe I can do this too, And I think that's what's really set me off, knowing that I wanted to do that for others too, let them know that if I'm capable, they are 10 times more capable.
When was the last time a director told you, we really need you to get this in one take?
When I was on Bold and the Beautiful, when I was on a soap opera and they needed to get it in one take. And it was the greatest learning experience of my life. And it was right after Philly Brown, for Jane the Virgin, and it taught me memorization like you couldn't believe. I was doing 40, 50 pages a day, one take. You just had to come with it, bring it hard, do your best, and then you had to let it go. And that was great training for me.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to try to learn that much dialogue every day.
It is something else. And it's like, it is the way I do a lot of like mind games and, to kind of keep my memory active and going, because that is, I guess, maybe my biggest, thing is I can memorize really quickly. So I'm like, got to keep like exercising my brain and that like tool and sharpening that tool,
Completely. About to talk about Awake, I swear, but I am a huge fan.
We can talk about whatever you want, Stephen. I don't care.
Oh, no, you know something? Let me jump into Awake because I realize that I'm running out of time. For people that have not seen the trailer, aren't familiar, I hate asking the generic thing, but like, how have you been describing it to friends?
Oh, how have I been describing it to friends? It is a sci-fi movie that now feels a lot realer than it did when I made it. It is a venture into the spaces of unknown, and it is a roller coaster of self-discovery and resetting one's perspective of the world and one's life.
That's good. I like that.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's how I've been describing it, but that's how I'm going to do it now.
One of the things about the film, and it's imagining a what if, a what if disaster for the planet. People love these kinds of movies. I love these kinds of movies. What is it about this genre that people love?
I don't know, but I think I don't know if I say I don't know because that was like the first gut reaction, but if I was to like dissect why I enjoy these what ifs is because I think we're constantly questioning the meaning of life. We're constantly wondering or at least I am, I'm constantly trying to search for answers that unfortunately there are none for. And I think that it helps us expand our perspective of the world. And I think what ifs are important to start asking questions, and they definitely help you start thinking about your own self and your own evolution, and how you've shed bad habits and how you would perform under pressure, and how mindful you're being. So I don't know, maybe it's because we're always all wondering what's going on. What is this life? What is life? What is this meat suit that I'm wearing, you know, like what?
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the things about the movie is there is a car crash sequence with water. And I would imagine that might have been an interesting thing to film. So what was it like filming that sequence?
So awesome. I love stunts. I love pushing my body and my physical possibilities. I love seeing what I'm capable of. I love trying and failing and trying again. And, you know, that stunt we all did, including Ariana, including the baby girl.
Sure.
She did. She was in that, you know, like they put us almost on like, do you know those bingo machines where you go and then they pull out a bingo thing, you know, they put us in essentially that and spun our car around and around. And I was just so impressed by Ariana and Lucius because I live for that kind of stuff. And it was difficult and intense and nauseating and awesome and so fun. Me and Lucius swam across an entire lake. Did we know we could do that? Not till after we did it. Like, you know, so I love seeing what I'm capable of, where I have to work harder, where I have to like try harder. And I love pushing my body to the limits for sure. Safely.
Of course. Well, with a sequence like that, how is it one of these things where they are really trying to do it in one take? Or is it one of these things where like, for example, how many times did you guys have to do that?
You know, I'm trying to remember, I think maybe like, not more than 10, but upwards of 6, 7 times for sure. And it was one take. I mean, that's the cool. I mean, Mark really, him and Alan Poon, the DP, they came up with some really dope. And as a director, you know, I was I was always watching them and always seeing what they were coming up with shot wise. But there were some really ambitious oneers that we went for that were really cool because you got to try, right? You got to go for it. And so that oneer was hard, but it's such a win. It's such an awesome win when you go for a challenge and an obstacle that, you know, that difficult and get something really cool out of it.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't think the general audience that is not like a movie fanatic, I don't think they understand that there isn't a cut. I don't think they realize they're watching a oneer. But I do believe that they feel the intensity rising, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I at times don't recognize it. I'll have to go back and be like, wait, they never even cut. Hold on, they didn't cut. Let's go back and like see that. But your body does shift as a viewer. You don't know why. And I also, as somebody who works in the industry, sometimes don't know why and have to like analyze what the shot did for me or what the cinematography did for me that was outside of the words, that was outside, because there's so many crafts, you know, when it comes to this. It's not, you know, just the actors you're looking at. It's from the set design to the costumes to, you know, to hair, to makeup, to, you know, because I had to, you know, my body had to evolve. You know, it's down to every single craft that is working really hard at doing that. And there's at times you don't know what is at work, but you feel something different, you know?
100%. You mentioned directing and how you're doing Doogie, and you've directed other TV in the past. Are you developing, trying to do a feature? And what can you tease about something like that?
I am 100% trying to be in that space. And I will say there is some really cool things. And something very cool I'm going to be able to share very soon.
Got it. I understand. So basically, I'll wish I'm talking to you in like 3 weeks when you guys announce.
100%. Maybe let's talk in 3 weeks when it's announced.
I completely get it. And yeah, obviously, like I'm very enthusiastic to see your vision for a feature and, you know, and bringing your what you want to do to life. But I do want to ask you though, before I run out of time, you obviously have other stuff in the fire, other stuff you're developing. One of the things we've talked about in the past, or Perry talked with you about, is Carmen Sandiego. Like, what's going on with some of these things?
So like which ones? So I'm like, you know, as a producer, you know, I have a production company, I Can and I Will Productions, and I didn't start on this side, right? I started on the in front of the camera side. So venturing into these producerial space has allowed me to really, learn so much about the creative process and the production process. But I will say that we have projects in all phases of production. So we are in pre-production right now for a film that we are producing with Netflix that we will start in July. We are in, the development process for a really awesome interactive rom-com on Netflix. We're in the developmental process on 3 television shows. Some of them are at script level, other them like one's at outline, and one's at script, another one is like fully going through. So we're just in like different spaces, which is really fun to see, to birth, to be a part of growing and cultivating and creating something I didn't do before, something where I felt like I was definitely in this, like more in a, and I wouldn't say powerless, but 100% not taking control of that which I can when it comes to art and creation and contributing. And so now I'm more in that, and that has been a really, really fun shift. So we're all over the place on all of them, but, very, very blessed and just like so thankful that I get to keep doing art. That's all I want to do.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, and it's funny when I interact with people on social media, and I don't think some people realize that acting, you don't have the power that you have as a producer or a director or developing projects.
Yeah.
It's a completely different beast, and I don't think a lot of people, well, not everyone realizes that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and rightfully so, I get it, because from the outside looking in, the people you see are the actors. They are the ones that are presented to the consumer and to the audience, because, that's how we have positioned this, and what's really beautiful about this shift is we're really starting to understand the importance, the gravitas of the writer and the showrunner, the creator, the director's voice, or, and we're starting to talk about it a little bit more in spaces where people don't really know our industry. And so it's really cool to start talking to people that are not in our industry to say like, oh, that writer, like that's the writer of so-and-so, and that I really like that. And you're like, yeah, there are a lot of contributing artistic pieces to this puzzle. And so you get why the audience is like, it's the actor. I mean, it's either good or bad because of the actor, or, and I think as an actor you can have there's a lot of pressure there, because you only have this much, you only can give this much, and rightfully so. It's what you sign on to, it's what you say, I want to be a part of this. This is the puzzle piece I choose in this project, and so I've been able to sit in a few different puzzle pieces that really have given me perspective of the other ones. But I completely empathize from, there was a lot of industries I know nothing about. And so, if anybody wants to talk about it, I geek out over it, because, the producer is so creative. There can be such creative producers that really help craft and mold, and, and then there's very business oriented minds that really help make something happen and push through. So it's very cool to start seeing how important these other roles are, and how I can hopefully bring a kindness, a transparency, a really cool culture when I'm in these other spaces to the sets that I'm on,
Completely. I'm very excited for Lost Ollie because it sounds really cool. And I'm into animation and stuff like that. So what can you tease about that project, and what of the animation have you seen?
So I haven't seen any of the animation. I mean, what I did see was the vision that Peter Ramsey and Shannon Tyndall had for the project. So I was given, this is the world we're going to live in. So there was like a rough animation for me to understand as someone who was interacting with this doll. And so there were so many different, it was so cool. And Peter Ramsey is phenomenal, and I'm so in love with that man's artistry and the way he works, and his kindness and his calmness, and he is so graceful. He is so loving. And those are the sets I love to be on. That's where I definitely work. You get the best version of me. If it's love and kindness, I will be free. I'll do whatever, you know what I'm saying? I think those are definitely when you get the best out of the artist, and Peter exudes that in spades. And I got to work with Jake Johnson, and he played my husband. But I also got to work with puppetry, like these incredible artists that literally make puppets look like human beings. Like just looking at this little puppet, I could just bawl. I mean, but then it was really wild. Wait until you see it. You're going to be like, this is the cutest little thing I've ever seen in my life. Like
Sure.
in my life, this puppet has light, like this puppet has life behind it. Like, how is that even possible? But then I also acted with silver balls. And then I also acted with nothing. And
Sure.
it is definitely an emotional piece. It is definitely like, what I loved about Mr. Rogers, is that he spoke to children about things that were very difficult to speak about. Grief. He would talk about grief and trauma, and like in a way that I really benefited from growing up, because it was really hard to talk about that in our house. And grief is something, when a child experiences it, it's something that definitely should be spoken about, right? I mean, I think personally.
100%.
And so, this is a piece that deals with some really heavy content geared towards speaking to children that have gone through this. And I think especially after the year and a half we've had, where people have unfortunately lost their parents or grandparents, and, and siblings, and, friends and family members, to talk about grief. It was really important to all of us to be able to, like, to be able to share in our piece like this during our time. But it was really interesting to perform. It was a very different challenge for me. Very different challenge. I'd never done that before, and talk about having to do some heavy performance. I mean, we're gonna find out if I did okay. We're gonna find out how that came out, but I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world, not just because Peter is the most exceptional, human being that I've worked with, but because I really had to push myself to some limits. And that's kind of all I'm looking for. I mean, that's what I did with Awake. I knew that there were challenges in there that I did not know I was capable of. And I wanted to see if I could try, even if I failed. I just wanted to try, and for Lost Ollie, that was another beautiful challenge. I mean, it was gorgeous artists making that project. So it was literally like it was a gift from the heavens. But I didn't know it was gonna push me in ways that, we're gonna see if I, what I did.
I'm confident in your ability, but getting back to the beginning of this interview, when I mentioned hypothetically borrowing things from set, see, this is the kind of item you should have borrowed.
Well, they told me I was going to be able to have one. So I think I'm still going to be able to get an Ollie doll. I just know they had to make sure they finished, and they were still working after I left. So I'm going to hit up Peter for that Ollie doll.
Right. And by the way, you should, because that's the kind of thing you want to like frame or do something special as like, and have it in your office.
Oh, I do have, but it never made it on air. Jane the Virgin did this like puppet episode where, like, in my mind, I saw us all as puppets. And so they got real puppeteers and made full blown, like two us puppets. So, but it never aired because it didn't end. I guess, I don't know why Jenny didn't, maybe tonally it didn't work, but whatever it was, I got that puppet. And it is really creepy and fantastic. And I wish we were home because I would pull out the puppet. So I do have one thing. You're right. I do have one thing. I didn't steal it. They didn't give it to me. It just never made it on air.
Right. Have you put a photo of that online?
No, not yet.
You should probably do that.
Oh, somebody did. I think Justin might have put a photo of mine, his, and Brett's puppet.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's definitely awesome to have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there and just say thank you so much for giving me your time and putting up with my technical issues. And I do look forward to hearing about whatever this project is that you are directing that I'll wish I was asking you about today. I'm very curious. But congrats on everything and enjoy Hawaii.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for your love. Thank you for supporting the film. It means the world to me.